Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode. We're going to be talking about should you have a resume on your LinkedIn profile? Some people in one camp say, well, why would you put your resume on your LinkedIn profile? That seems a little redundant. Other people say, no, you absolutely should have a resume on your LinkedIn profile. So we're going to dig into the pros and cons here. So, Dave, what do you think?
So the thing about a resume is you really should tailor it to the job. And LinkedIn, you cannot customize per job. So I think LinkedIn's already got a kind of like generalized version of you that's supposed to speak to a broader audience. And your LinkedIn is your resume is your opportunity to give a very sort of bespoke view of you. And so I tend to favor not including it on your resume not including it on your LinkedIn, because I feel like you remove your opportunity to customize it, because then it's like, oh, they changed their resume, which everybody knows you do, but there's something awkward about like the perception that you've changed your resume. So I sort of tend to think that you should not include a PDF of your resume on your LinkedIn.
So a lot of people will put their resume on their LinkedIn in one of the it's called featured content areas on your LinkedIn profile. The featured content area on your profile sits between the about section where you have a couple paragraphs of text and your work experience where you're listing out your work. And I think the featured content areas, this conversation is less about should you have your resume there and more about what is the best thing to have there, which the best thing to have there is really something that provides social proof or third party credibility or certifications or awards or a newspaper article that mentions you. And if none of those things are true or none of those things are things that you have, it could be as simple as a link to a blog post that you wrote and you put on Medium for free that shows your thought leadership or shows your interests or shows your passions, because the resume, putting it into one of those coveted squares, you only have two of them before you have to scroll over. You can put a few more than two, but you have to scroll over to be able to get to it. When you put your resume there, you're putting essentially what is very close to if the recruiter downloads or prints your LinkedIn profile. And so, could you put your resume there? Yes. But what I think is more powerful to put there is some type of piece of multimedia content, whether it's a Medium post that you wrote, a LinkedIn blog post that you wrote, whether it's a link to your blog, whether it's a link to your personal website, or whether it's a newspaper clipping. That I think is something that is way more valuable to be able to put in that real estate. And a missed opportunity then would be in your employment history if you haven't put any details as bullet points under each of your jobs, which is fundamentally what your resume is.
Yeah,
Now,
that
should you
version. So to say like that version of your resume that you would put on LinkedIn, all that information should just be on your LinkedIn profile, because then LinkedIn can index it. You'll show up in search results. Having it in that PDF is just not going to help you.
completely agree with that. The only thing that a resume sometimes has that is not on your LinkedIn profile is your phone number and your email address. And so during a job search, you can absolutely put your email address in the About Me section. And recruiters, if they're using LinkedIn Recruiter and they have one of those licenses, they have a lot of tools at their disposal to be able to get in touch with you. Sometimes smaller companies don't pay for that, or sometimes recruiters have used up all of their credits for the month. And so being able to put, while you're in a job search, a phone number and an email address in your about section pretty much accomplishes the entire thing of what your resume would have done. And recruiters all know that they can download LinkedIn profiles as a PDF. And so even the formality of asking for a resume, a lot of the times, I've seen a bunch of instances where recruiters just send me the PDF from a LinkedIn profile instead of a resume for a candidate. And so that 100% accomplishes it. And you can use that valuable real estate to be able to showcase and show off something that really sets you apart. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode. Today, we were talking about should your resume be on your LinkedIn profile? If you have comments about this, if you have questions about this, wherever you're watching this, wherever you're listening to this, scroll down, leave a comment for us, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks so much. See ya.